from New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
I had an offline conversation with Post Malone yesterday.
Posty.
After yesterday, he hit me on the DMs.
You guys are being friendly white guys?
He wasn't defensive. He did not say anything about like how he was a little hurt, I think, because he thought like, oh, you know me, so don't you know I didn't mean it that way. Like, that's not what I meant. I thought you wouldn't come for me because you know me. But besides that, he wasn't defensive at all.
Did he understand?
Oh, absolutely.
What you were trying to tell him?
Absolutely.
Explain.
It was a very open back and forth. I didn't back off my point.
Did he ever go out and clarify?
He clarified that he meant new hip hop, current popular hip hop.
And he did that publicly or
Yes.
just with
you? No,
you?
he did that publicly too.
Okay.
He did that publicly too.
But that doesn't make for a good click-worthy headline.
Well, it also, remember, as I said yesterday, if there had been an isolated incident and that was the only misstep he'd ever had, I don't think I would have cared that much about the quote. I probably would have just been like, oh, but he meant new hip hop. The reason I kind of clung to it was because there was this series of things, and I said this to him yesterday. I said, it's just being careless.
NFL, you botched it again. You put out this whole press campaign that you're going to put aside $100 million over 7 years. Sounds good. But then when you get down into what the actual proposal was, in principle. What does in principle mean? That means like, in theory, we might.
We might donate it?
That's what in principle means. And then over 7 years, $100 million. Broken down by each team is like $250,000 per owner per year. Okay, still sounds pretty good. When you go deeper into it, you come to find out the NFL was going to just take money that they were already using for breast cancer awareness and move it over to these social justice issues.
God.
And then when you go deeper down into the proposal, you find out that the NFL, all they really wanted to do was run commercials, which they were then going to use the money to run the commercials on the networks. So there was no actual community activism going to take place. The $100 million was just going to be for PSAs.
Just promo. It's simple things that happen throughout the day, guys. I go to sleep and it turns into this scary situation. Like yesterday, right? I was leaving work. It was so, and we work on the 7th floor. So took the elevator down, and it stopped like on the 3rd or 4th floor, and the door kept closing, and this guy kept putting his hand, like
yeah.
But he wouldn't come in the elevator. He just kept putting it.
Wow.
So whatever, it just happened. He ends up being like, okay, forget it, and he goes away. So last night, it was like a little mini nightmare. That's all I can remember. The same thing happens. But the guy keeps putting his hand, and all of a sudden the door closes, and the elevator just starts falling.
It's pretty
And
scary.
I wake up in a panic.
But that was it? It ended?
Nothing else happened?
That's scary enough.
No,
what do you mean?
here's what should have happened. Here's what should have happened.
Just keeps falling and falling.
She's
My
like,
heart was falling out of my chest.
What happened was, in the dream, she's in the elevator, but it's not a normal elevator.
These are my dreams.
It's a spooky elevator.
Oh, God.
It's dark.
I'm not going to tell you anymore.
Spooky.
Weird music playing. The elevator stops at the 13th floor.
There is no 13th floor.
She goes, what is this? There's no 13th floor here. The door is open. A man in a tuxedo is standing there, but when she looks at him, he has no face.
Ghostface Killer.
He reaches his hand into the elevator and says, "Excuse me, Laura." She goes, "How do you know my name?" And just as she says that, the elevator doors close on his hand. The elevator starts falling. His hand expands and becomes this monstrous, freakish hand that envelops her whole body into flames as it falls to the ground and explodes. Demons come out and start sucking her soul out of her eyeballs.
Not what happened. That's not what happened.
That's not how it happened? Your story sucked.
Mine, though. That's
Yo, Rosenberg is amazing. That's amazing. J-Lo, we love you. We love you. Make no
So where are
mistake.
you about to go? Where are you about to go?
go?
Please don't disrespect.
But no disrespect.
Yep, see? Told you.
Your endorsement of A-Rod as the next Yankees manager means squat.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
That's not a thing.
It's an interesting approach they're taking, though, because no one was really talking about A-Rod for manager. Now it's like the two of them are kind of campaigning, which is interesting. I don't know if that's how the Yankees get down, though.
It's not a popularity contest.
It feels like that's not what they do.
We all know about Matt Lauer. Russell Simmons quits companies over forced sex rap. A woman by the name of Jenny Lumet, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She says in 1991, Russell Simmons forced her into a situation. And there was some sex. She says, I simply did what I was told. There was penetration. Russell says he remembers it differently. But it's a wrap. Russell steps down from all the companies and All Def, All Def Digital, Def Comedy Jam on HBO. I guess there was some upcoming segments for that. He stepped away from all of that. Simmons is 60. Wow, Russell's 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at what point, and I think his statement was responsible, Russell Simmons. At what point does someone like Russell, whom we know was a wild man back in the 90s, 80s, and 70s, just say, I was a wild man. I came into this game from selling drugs in the streets of Queens. I didn't handle things appropriately, and I'm trying to be a better man today. Everybody's been talking about it. T-Pain put up the correct lyrics.
Why?
He said it's and then, not ooh-wee. But it's whatever you want it to be.
He's a goddamn liar. You're a liar, T-Pain. I love you.
It's and then, not ooh-wee. This is one of the great songs of the last 15 years, in my opinion, brother.
I always thought it was that, man.
Shut up, Cass.
It's both, like, you can hear it.
You're a liar.
There's an undertone. Wow. See?
Oh, and then...
Cass, you always heard that, huh?
Yeah, I did.
You're a liar.
Such a liar? Oh my God.